Hey everyone, it's Desiree, and I am here to finish up a journal that we started in my live. I believe it was dated on the 20th of April, last Sunday. Well, the time I'm filming it was last Sunday, so yeah. And we focused on a digital by Relatively Thoughtful. It will be available soon, so kind of a sneak peek, and it's called Seaside Splendor. Beautiful images, and I will link to their shop down below if you wanted to check out. They do both digitals and also hard copies of the digitals. And they are located in the UK. So I'll do a quick flip through. This was done completely by CardStock. You don't have to have a chipboard cover. You don't have to have all the fancy things. It's actually all CardStock, and there are 7 individual signatures in this. It is a hidden spine that we created, but it's just, we go over the cuts, and again, it's a long video, but it does go through on how we put this together, and it combines the concept of a journal, a sewn journal, because each one is sewn, along with a scrapbook album feel. So we've got some flips, we've got some pockets here, we've got another pocket here, place to journal, another flip, and I think the images are just gorgeous. And it's the same as you go through. This is a side pocket here, this is a side piece, so good for journaling. And then we just keep repeating that motif throughout. And again, it's just cardstock folded, so each signature is just one. So you can put together, let me flip that back in before I mess that up, to just use your pattern papers or a digital print, set up what you want each page to look like, and just have a really good time with creating your journal. You can see that it does lay relatively flat because of the way that this was constructed. And what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the outer, the spine, and the back covers so that we can get this finished up. So I've already done all of my fussy cutting. Now I know these pieces here are going to be for my front and back and spine, and then I've got some ephemera pieces cut here to just decorate our pockets. So I've taken care of that. And then we have this last piece here that we may use. So let's get started. I am going to pull in a piece of cardstock to frame our front and back cover. Let's see. Sorry for the pause. Here we go. So I'm going to use some craft, and I'm actually going to measure these. Yes. So this is 4.5 by 6.5, and our album measures 5 by 7 when it comes to the cover, and the spine is a 2-inch spine. Okay, so let's cut our pieces. So we said 4.5 by 6.5, so I want to cut this to be 4 3/4, and I'm going to cut another one 4 3/4. We'll move these out of the way. And then we want to go 6 3/4. So So I am going to measure that just so I know I have the right cut, because yeah, it's what we do. It's what we do, so I don't make any mistakes. And we'll do that right here. And then we'll make another cut as well. And then we will cut these. Now, by adding this matte, we're just going to add a little bit more strength to our cover. And I do want to cut my spine. So let's say that is a different color, but that's okay. I'm gonna cut this 1 3/4, and then I'm going to cut this again at 6 3/4, just to have it be the same height. Okay, and I think that we are good with that. So let's layer up our piece. And we're just going to glue these down. And we're just going to center them. And then for our spine, we have a couple of these, and we're going to put this in the center. But I do also want to cut a piece from this green. I want to have this green on there because that's within our cover pieces. And since we cut this to be 1 3/4, I'm going to cut this to be 1 1/2. So I'm going down 1/4 every time. And then I'm just going to place a mark here on where to cut this. Okay, let's get these out of the way. And then we'll layer this. And then we will have this. Now we can take this right up to this edge, which I think will look really nice. And that's what we're going to do. So let's do that first, because then I can cut that off. And I'm going to eyeball this. Let's move that piece out of the way. Let's get that somewhat more centered. There we go. And no matter if I make a journal or a scrapbook album, I've got to have, I always got to add some metal. And I'm going to do that for this one as well. And I'm going to add some brads. I'm just going to grab a couple. And that's really the only metal that I'm going to add. But it's just a nice touch. And I'm going to grab a pokey tool. And again, we're just gonna eyeball where we're putting this. And then we will get these set in here. There we go. Get those spread. And then I'm going to push them down. And when you push them down, you want to make sure that you kind of stay to the center, because sometimes they can shift. But I want these flat so that I can get them flat on this piece. And whenever I use brads, I do like to put a piece of double-sided tape on top, just a little piece to cover the brad in case it turns. This will keep it in place. It's not necessary, but it's just something that I do now. And then we will add glue and get this up onto our spine. And again, we'll center that. Don't want to break that. I'll bring in a bone folder just to go along the top to get that down. There we go. So our spine is now set. We've got one of our covers, so let's do the next one. All right, so we know that this is our spine. So I'm going to get this onto our book. And since our book is already put together, I'm going to find the center, which is one of the page because it was 7 signatures. And I'm just going to lay it like that. And then we're going to get this in place. And it's okay if you do that. So now that is there, and then we're going to have one of these for our cover, and then one of these for the back. So while the journal's like this, now I'm just going to play with what do I want to be on the cover, what do I want to be on the back. I love this Seaside, and I love these prints because of all of the watercolor. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this down into that corner and then put this one up there. This I think is going to go onto the back, and I'm going to save that because I'll put my I always have a label that goes here. Basically, you know, I brand the journal, and then I also name the journal, and that will be a surprise at the end. And then this is our label, and I think that is going to sit there. We'll even prop that up a little bit. And if we look at some of our cut aparts that I did fussy cut, we've got some shells, we've got a lot of flowers, which will be great throughout. But the shells, I think, will be great as an accent piece along here. And then maybe just one more. Yeah, so I think we'll do that. And that's how that is going to look. And then here, we're going to put one of these. And then I think one of the starfish coming up like that. So we will play with that. And then we have all of these wonderful pieces left for throughout our journal. Okay, so let's get our cover together. I'm going to set this aside, and let's get this one together. So we're going to put this piece down first. And again, this idea can be done with a digital or any of your pattern papers. You don't need that chipboard or anything like that. You're not creating a hinge. It's a great way if you've got some scraps. Could use them up. I do want to prop this up. So we'll use some double-sided foam squares. I'm just going to add a dab of glue, and then we're going to set this, I think, right here. All right, and now we will put our shells in place. Now we can put our cover on our book. Again, we're just going to center that. All right, now I'm going to hold off this side. And now we're going to open up our book. And again, these pages aren't too dark, so we can The recipient can journal here. This would be great for someone that loves to go to the beach. They can add photos if they want, or they can journal, or they can add a photo up here and they can journal and just have some fun with it. I can add these pieces here into some of the pockets so that they can have a way just to add some journal pieces. You can also cut up some of the other pieces that I have that I'll be doing. We'll be doing that together. But for each of the pockets, we can add just a cluster of flowers. Nothing too fancy. Just 3 flowers and just have fun with it. I don't want to add dimension to these. The book, our book right now is at, you know, a nice width. You could add just one if you wanted to. And I'm going to have this one coming off the page. So it just adds a little bit of interest. And you can do the same thing with the flowers on your pockets. If you wanted to, you know, you could have them coming up. And I like the idea, just the one. Could also just have one flower here. So again, you can do this nice and quick, just to add a little bit of interest to your pages. We always don't have to go too crazy. When it comes to adding our images, tuck that one up underneath. I don't want to come too close here either in case they bend up. We don't want that to happen. We can put them at different heights. Need another small one. We can add these along the top completely. And then there's even a spot down there for someone to journal, which I think is great. You could use these flowers as tabs if you want. Possibilities are just endless. Different shapes, and then there we go. Very simple. So now we have our pages decorated. And well, now we could even, let's do these too. Why not? And then we'll go to the back because we have a pocket back here. So I think for this one, I'm going to add that one there and then put these wonderfully bright yellow ones right on either side of it. There we go. So see, very quick to just add your decorations to your journal to embellish. And then what I do have is I do have one of these left. You could even add this here and we can make it a tuck. So I'm going to put glue on two sides and I'll put that there. And now you have created a tuck. So that picture can be put there. They can journal up here. Just all kinds of fun. So let's create some tags, and we're just going to have fun cutting the size and the shape of our tags. So I like that one, and maybe I'll cut another one to be that size, maybe a little skinnier. Now let's go a little wider. And then this one can be a skinny one. And we'll even cut this one in half. So let's go there. Cut the white off of this one. And here we can just have fun with our scraps. So I'm going to pull in some of the scraps of the sea that I have here, and we can look at these, and I think I'm going to keep that one just that size. And this one here. So you can really just have fun using up your scraps. We can fold this one in half and keep it folded. Even these, some of these small pieces, you could just cut these down and tuck them in. Because again, there's a spot for a journal, a little bit of writing, if they wanted to. No piece is ever too small they could then turn it into a piece of washi if they wanted to. And I think I'm going to fold that one in half as well. You know everything's going to match. Let's see, what does this measure? So we'll take that right there. And we've got a couple tags there. Let's use this one. It's one of the reasons why I do love digitals is because I'm going to keep that just like that. Same thing with that one. These can be pieces that photos can be added to. They can be clipped in. All right, and then I think just cut this one up. And we can just make this one different sizes. Again, I am not thinking about the sizes. I am just cutting the shapes. There we go. And now let's turn these all into tags. So I'm going to grab, I have a tag template that I made. Even made it look like a tag. And what this allows me to do is to just line this up, grab my scissors, and just snip along each side. And then I know that I have an even shape for a tag. You can also just snip that corner off, flip it around to come to the other side, and line that up onto your corner. And then snip along that as well. It's very fiddly, and you know, just saying, we could have a problem with, you know, fingers in the way. So I do like this. You can do this with multiple layers of cardstock to make your own tag template. You can just use the tag itself. And cut along that. And cut along that one. For these, I'm going to keep these this size. These can be just journaling cards. And then here we've got even more tags. And I'm going to see if I have a tag that's about the same size and just line it up so that I can just snip, snip. So now we've got those two done. I know these two are the same size. So you're going to have different shapes. For these are going to stay folded, but it's like a little secret. Same thing with this one. I don't want to go too big with my angle for my tags. And then these, yep, we're going to bring these in. Just going to line them up. And I think this one, yep. So when you have tags that are the same size, just layer them up. Don't need a fancy die or anything like that. And if you don't want to, you can simply just cut them. Does not have to be perfect. That's what I love about albums. You can have so much fun with them. With your paper and all of that. And now we get to flip through again. So here we can put one of our tags, and it's okay that it sticks out the top. I like that charm. I think that looks great. So I'm going to put one in for right now and see where we go. Except for that one, I'm going to put two. Put those off to the side. I think that one will be pretty there. I know we've got something in there already. Let's just trim that down just a little bit. A little bit more. There we go. So you just go by feel, adding your pieces. You always want to make sure you don't glue something down. And let's put this one here. Fits perfectly. And then for our last one, we can actually just put this here, but we can add a paper clip. And my paper clips are actually in front of me. Can even tuck that back here and have that sitting right there. So there we go. We don't have alligator mouth. We have a few items that are sticking up, which I love. I think that adds a lot of charm to the piece. And when we come back, we're going to show the back side and what we named it. Well, here we are. We have completed our journal completely from cardstock, meaning the album itself. No chipboard, no making our own album. It was completely made out of cardstock. Now, the album, I did use 110-pound cardstock. It's doubled up here. So that it can have good strength. And with the mats and the other pieces we came on, this is pretty strong. You know, you've really got to bend it to put a crease in it, which is nice. And again, we have our different pieces that are here. And as we continue to look, like myself, I'm going to put this one here. And then I'm going to move this here. And then I'll put this one here too. Okay. So we have our flips. We can even put a tag in there, which looks nice. We have our flips. We have our tucks, journal cards, tags. I'm going to move that there because, you know, this is what I always do. I just keep moving things around. And each page was set up the same way. So this, again, is one piece of cardstock cut to a certain size, scored down the center, and then we sewed it in so that it gave us a hidden spine. And there are 7 of these. Each one has a pocket on this side, a flip with a beautiful seascape watercolor image, and then a solid piece. Then you have a long pocket still using that seaside embellished with a flower, and then we can just tuck the items that we would want. And each of them does have their own flip out. So as we page through, it's the pattern paper, or in this case, the digital, soon to be released by Relatively Thoughtful, that makes it different and unique. This style, though, would be absolutely great for your scraps and anything else that you already have. So that's the beauty of this style of a journal. Now, you don't have to put 7 in. You can go with 5. You can go with 3. Whatever number that you would want to fill your journal. And then we're going to put our paper clip back in place. And there is our back cover. And I've named this Splendid. So I just heat emboss the branding. Some people, you can use a sticker, you can use a stamp, however you want. And then I always name my journals, and then that's our decoration on the back of our journal. And you can see it flops. So like when it sits on a table, you have this beautiful effect that's coming off of it. And when we open it to any page, it is pretty much laying flat, which is nice. But so I did not add a closure to it. It's very sturdy as it stands. We just added, the only metal are these 2 brads just to decorate that spine up a little bit, and the one paper clip to the back. So I hope you enjoyed this. And again, if you want to see the full construction of the album itself and the pages and the sewing of it together, you want to go to my live that aired on April 20th. Always on a Sunday. I go live at 9 a.m. if you want to check this out. I will have Relatively Thoughtful's digitals linked down below if you wanted to see what they have available. And this will be coming out soon. So, little sneak peek. Yeah, that was my boo-boo. But, you know, getting you excited. As always, I hope you enjoyed this to show how we can decorate just using our papers. No fancy items, just use what we have in our stash, whether it's from a pattern paper collection or a digital collection. They always come with ephemera pieces, and you'll always have pieces left over. These are the actual pieces I have left from this very large collection. And these are absolutely great scraps. And again, once this comes out, it is called Seaside Splendor. Remember, enjoy the process. Have fun creating. Paper is the best medium, in my opinion. It's got 2 sides. We can do anything with it that we want. We can see how far we can push it. But always know that when you take paper and you create something with it, you are creating art. So please, always remember, enjoy the process. That is what's most important. If you haven't yet, I'd love for you to subscribe. Make sure you hit the thumbs up and make sure you ring the bell so that you know when the next video is ready for you to watch. And always know on Sundays, I go live right about 9 a.m. Eastern time, where we never know what we're going to create that day. Yeah, it's always something different. Yes. Always remember, though, what is most important. Always be creative in everything you do every day. Continue to stay safe and healthy. And until the next video, take care, and I'll talk to you then.